Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's unbelievably stacked panel for primetime gaming with Mr. Boomstick and friends. And of course, I am your host, Mr. Boomstick XL. And as you can tell by the lead up to today's fantastically planned show, we have some big topics. We have a big time guest making his debut on the Double Barrel Gaming Network. And of course, we have our regular stout list of primetime gaming panel members. So let's get into the introduction so we can break down this show. And we're going to start with our guest making his debut appearance on primetime gaming. John Wolf, welcome to today's program. Hopefully you are ready to talk games.
Definitely, Boomer. Ready to go. Lots of topics to cover tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
You know what? Why don't you give us a little bit of a background of who John Wolf is? I know that you're sitting in front of your epic collection of books. I think that people might be interested to find out exactly what you're sitting in front of.
Definitely, Boom. So I've been collecting comics ever since I was, about 10 years old. And what I discovered probably like a year ago is that if you send over your comics to a bindery, they can put them together and make some pretty a custom book that no one else has. So I've been doing this for a little bit over a year, and I've gathered up quite a collection that I'm quite proud of, Boom. And it's one of the things that I love about it is that it's unique to me. I'm the only one that's gonna have this collected edition in the format, in just the cover, the spine. It's gonna be unique to me, so that's one of the things that drew me to it, and I love doing it, man. It's super addictive.
Well, listen, obviously, besides being a huge comic book gamer, besides being an unbelievably father, husband, and family man, you are a diehard gamer. Obviously, you're wearing your Xbox shirt. That is where you lay your head home. What are your thoughts? So you're a big time Xbox player.
Yeah, Boom. I've been gaming on Xbox since the OG Xbox. The very first game that I played, like almost everyone else, was Halo. And the moment that I turned on that Xbox and experienced Halo for the first time, I was completely hooked on Xbox. And just some of the little things that I noticed about the actual box, it had a hard drive. I didn't need a memory card. The breakaway cables. That's when I kind of knew that box was catered towards gamers, because it was things that gamers wanted. I spent a long time with the PlayStation 2 beforehand, and I noticed that every time, my mom would pass by, there goes my console. So as soon as I saw those breakaway cables, I was like, I'm hooked. I'm Xbox for life, man. That right there sold me.
Well, it's glad we're happy to know that you are not only a diehard gamer, but you are an Xbox gamer, and quite frankly, it is a great time to be an Xbox gamer because of all of the unbelievable news that continues to pour out of Redmond. But let's continue with our introductions. Next up, he's known to many as a sniper elite. I make him blush every time I say he will shoot you in the face while playing online. Please welcome the Tempest Son.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Happy to be here. Got some juicy topics, and nice to meet you, John. I dig your shirt. I need to get some Xbox card, man. I mean, it's like my favorite thing, and I don't have any merchandise to show it.
For sure,
Shame
brother.
On me.
Some people would even suggest that's a fake fan.
I know, man. Well, you know what? I go into like what is it, like Kohl's and places. I'd see PlayStation shirts. Microsoft just needs to step up their game. I buy them. I'm sure a lot of people would.
My wife actually got me this shirt because she knew I was going to be on the show, and with the acquisition of Bethesda and ZeniMax, they got to update this, man. We need Doom guy on there, so.
Yep.
Well, Tempest Son, it's a pleasure to have you. We've been talking in the DM, so I know that one of the main topics of tonight's conversation is going to be quite spicy because obviously Sony has been, for all points accounted, dropping the ball as of late, and going into the next generation, they kind of seemed like they may actually limp into the next gen as opposed to walking tall coming from a position of leadership, considering that they were the dominant force this particular generation. It is really a 180. It's shocking to see.
It's shocking,
the about face that company has made, but we're going to get into that momentarily. Next up, you know him as the loudest man from Canada, considered sometimes to be Mooch from New York, but he is not. He is his own man, and he's from Canada, and he does great impressions. Please welcome Mag. What's going on, brother?
Well, good evening, Boom. Good evening, chat. It is Shocktober. It is my favorite time of year, and of course, how else could we do it without a wolf in the house? John Wolf is here, so let's get it going tonight. We got some great topics, and let's get to it.
Yes, well, it's great to have you here, and obviously you're going to see that there are two folks missing. Well, Cybernox is running slightly behind. Obviously, work becomes more important than a silly podcast, so he'll be joining us momentarily. And Clowns is taking care of personal family business, so of course we wish his family all the best. He'll be back next week in his regular chair. But last and in no way least, one of the most prominent and upcoming podcasters that I think that has exploded on the scene, besides being a community leader, besides being our inside man to everything GameStop, he has been a content creator on a mission, but I don't know who that mission is from. Is it from the gaming gods? It might be. Please welcome Gaming Forte.
Man, that's a good intro right there, man.
How you like that? That's from the gut. So
that's from the gut. So yeah, man, it's Monday, man. It's always great to be here. First of all, Mag, I wish, man, you make me feel like I need to go take some vitamin D every time I hear you start these dang podcasts, because it just seems like I don't have enough energy like you have every Monday morning. Jesus.
Hey,
look,
let me tell you something. You should feel sorry for my wife. She has to live with this 24/7. There is no down button for me.
There's no down, but hey, man,
I'm like this all day.
I love it, man. If I was asleep, I'm awake now. So no, but I can't wait to get into these topics, man. It's been over a week, man, since we did this. So let's get into it.
Well, listen, as the folks file in, we're gonna start off with something that I've recently added to the program. It's called the Bits and Bytes section, and what they are is they're smaller topics that would only take up about normally 20 minutes instead of a full-on hour that we normally go with some of the bigger topics. And there are topics that most people are not talking about, which is why you tune in every Monday to Primetime Gaming to get some new information, potentially some that you may not even know exist. So for Bits and Bytes number 1, with the addition of EA Play to Xbox Game Pass, many in the community cheered this paid service as getting something else for absolutely nothing. And it is a big deal. It is a much bigger deal than the gaming community, as well as obviously the gaming media has been making it out to be, simply because, well, with EA Play, you're going to get 60 additional games in that vault. And of course, you get 10% off of all EA purchases, which I just did because I was an EA Play subscriber until I found out this. And of course, I canceled, but I got 10% off of Star Wars Squadrons. And more importantly, you get 10 hours of play. So even if you don't buy the game and it doesn't go into Game Pass, you can still get 10 hours, and your achievements count, as well as your progress is saved should you buy the game. So there's a big advantage. But one such franchise that EA holds the development rights to is the Star Wars, and it is a big one. And there are a few titles missing from that list that may be coming the same day that EA Play launches into the service, which of course has been confirmed for November 10th, the same day as the Xbox Series X and S launch. And thanks to an article that I pulled from comicbook.com, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order reportedly is not only getting new single-player content for free, but it's also potentially going to get an upgrade in both graphics and performance. But folks, there's more, because this is where I take us down speculation town. And if you've played the game, you know how amazing it is. It is an amazing Star Wars epic, brand new canon type of title that was crafted by the very talented folks at Respawn Entertainment, makers of Apex Legends and, of course, Titanfall. And we have heard rumblings of potentially free single-player DLC that I would imagine are going to somehow work its way into the sequel that is currently in pre-production. But that game launched November 15th of 2019. And what's interesting and what we're hearing from industry insider Shinobi602, he tweeted that more content is coming down the pipe. And he actually said for both Doom and Jedi Fallen Order. Unfortunately, that tweet was recently deleted, suggesting that while it might have been a mistake, it also may be true because there was no rebuttal suggesting so. So this started to make me wonder a little bit. And I said, wait a second. Shinobi's tweeting this. We know that usually after a year, a game goes into the vault. And wouldn't it be pretty damn epic if Jedi Fallen Order were to find its way to not only EA Play, but happen to just be in there the day and date that service goes live in Xbox Game Pass, along with the rumored added benefit of having more production value in its. I mean, could we see this game at 90 frames per second? Could we see it at 120 frames per second? Could we see it at 4K? 120 frames per second. Well, I don't know. But again, according to the rumor, this is going to receive some Series X and S enhancements. So I'm going to go to our guest, John Wolf. Listen, if there's one particular Star Wars game that EA did make a mistake with, it was letting Respawn Entertainment make Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. And quite frankly, with Shinobi602, who's normally spot on when he puts these things out there, and of course, the coincidence, if you will, quote unquote, air quotes, that EA Play is launching the same day that, of course, the Series X and S are launching, it seems like the stars are starting to line up that we could have another big game to play in Xbox Game Pass thanks to EA's Vault. What are your thoughts on this?
I agree, Boom. I think the stars are definitely aligning. I would think that both Xbox and EA would want a big title to launch on the same day that their services are uniting. In regards to the rumor from Shinobi, where there's smoke, there's fire. He's posted some pretty good stuff before that's come through. I don't know why that would change. If it was a mistake, who knows? But if he posted it, it's for a reason. It's probably because he got a good he's got a pretty good indication that something's coming. And it's just another example of Xbox dedication to add value to Game Pass. I mean, the more that they add, you start thinking to yourself, when is enough enough? I mean, how much value are they going to keep on adding for me? And if they can make a strong case of a Star Wars game coming to Game Pass on November 10th, what better game than the Star Wars Fallen Jedi? I'm sorry. It's a fantastic game. I played about half of it. I got halfway done. It was one of my holiday pickups during the Black Friday sale. I think I picked it up. I played it. It was solid. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Respawn did an amazing job. And going back to your question, it seems like if it's going to come true, Boom, it really does. I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, I mean, you make a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, the big play, no pun intended, for Xbox Game Pass was that partnership with EA. Now, again, we know that how we feel about EA, and they're the evil empire. We get it. We absolutely get it. But you still cannot deny the value of 60 additional games. And again, some of them are from the 360 era. But man, could you imagine playing Dead Space, the trilogy, with no load times, or with machine learning and potentially machine HDR, which is crazy to think about. It is going frame rates. Double the frame rates. We could see that. I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what comes about, whether or not my theory down Speculation Town comes to fruition. Tempest Sun, I want to go to you next on, because obviously Star Wars is right now, it's you know, movie wise, it has been kind of limping around the you know, the studios, because the last couple have not been good. We have had, of course, The Mandalorian revive the Star Wars franchise, and we just had last Friday Star Wars Squadrons, which is absolutely fantastic. It is very well done, and of course, you know, everyone is starting to get excited to the launch of the Xbox Series X and S, and we know that EA Play is going to be in there day and date in Xbox Game Pass. Does it seem like everything is aligning to have this game potentially not only release their day and date of the console launch, it could potentially release with enhancement, but also with additional content?
Yeah, no, man. I've been thinking this for a while. When they first announced it, I'm probably going to be. I've probably said this on the show before, but like, I haven't played that game yet for very specific reasons, and everything is aligning to what I hoped for. This is literally what I hoped for, because I knew that the Series X was going to be awesome for backwards compatibility. I skipped the game because I didn't like the performance on the current consoles.
It stuttered a lot, for sure.
I mean, I know, I've watched the videos and everything. You're looking at, like, I don't know, high 30s to mid 45 frames per second, and that's just, you know, that would drive me up the wall, like absolutely insane.
I can guarantee you, though, if they can get that locked into 4K 60, it would be a spectacle.
Oh yeah, well, I have no doubt that it's going to achieve that just through the raw power of the system, you know, the brute force back and pat, and so I'm super hyped. I think it all makes sense. The new content's crazy because I mean, I didn't see them actually adding to it, you know, like that. But I don't know, dude. It's perfect for me. There's probably a lot of people that didn't play the game, and they're gonna get a chance to now, and I'm one of them. And I felt silly for holding out, but now I really don't, because if it does come day and date, like I got so much to play, I might not even get to it right away. But the limited amount of time I played it on the PC, I really enjoyed it. On the PC, I enjoyed it at the, obviously the 60 frames a second, but even my PC, I played it at like 1440p or something. It can reach higher than that on the Series X. So all around, it's just it's good. I'm super hyped for it, and I don't know, man. It makes a whole bunch of sense. I mean, I pay for EA Play $5 a month, and I just got the message from Microsoft saying, "Hey, guess what? You don't have to pay for it anymore." So it's all gravy to me. It's great news. It's good for everybody. It's just more value, and yeah, I'm excited for it. So.
Well, I mean, obviously, when talking Star Wars, especially considering that this is a new character, it's new canon, it's a whole new story. It involves Vader. Obviously, this is taking place, right after one of the I believe it's right after the first trilogy. It opens the door for a lot more Star Wars stories. But what's interesting, and I think what really gets me excited, is the fact that this was a single player game where, a lot of the folks call them the one and dones. Yeah. And to know that EA, which we know who EA is, right? We know the evil empire, and they have very, very deep pockets and short arms, right? Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Yeah. The fact that they would allow Respawn to potentially put out some single-player campaign, which is rumored to be free of charge, is super, super exciting, because we don't necessarily know if the new content is simply just based on the current engine, or did they make use of the hardware that they knew that they were going to be partnered with. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be on the PlayStation. I'm sure it is. But the fact that it could potentially be made from the ground up using the technology of the Series X and S, that would be something else.
Yeah. No, it's also, I feel like if they haven't said anything, I don't believe, but if they actually do optimize this thing a bit and actually do more of like a Series X patch, that'd be phenomenal if they just brought that out of nowhere. I'm not expecting it. I'm pretty sure the back compat as it is would be like a mini remaster almost. I mean, that's almost what these games are turning into, some of them anyway. So, but yeah, if they actually gave like a patch or something, that'd be wicked. And I don't see them charging for that as well. I really
no, they would. That would probably just be right in there with
yeah,
the smart delivery
exactly.
aspect. Yeah,
and I didn't. The little bit I played, I mean, I didn't. I've been waiting, like I said, but the bit I did play was pure quality. It really was. I mean, the beginning was a little bit tropey. You know, I've done that like probably 95 times in other games, just like it. But once you get past that, I mean, the cinematic appeal to it, gameplay, the whole 9 yards, it seemed very, very good. And I got to say that, along with The Mandalorian, are I think the two biggest hopes that the Star Wars franchise has, because the movies were, I mean, you know,
yeah.
And I don't even want to get into that because it's depressing, but it seriously is. But yeah, they're pretty bad, man.
It wasn't bad.
It's pretty bad.
I mean, listen, episode 7, fantastic, loved it. Episode 8, I don't know, man. Johnson kind of really threw me for a loop in the last one. Man, they made Luke a punk, man. Listen, this is a gaming podcast, and we're going to return to gaming, just like I'm going to return to the Force. Real quick, Norm the Butcher in the chat. First of all, Norm, welcome to the program, brother. He asked a question. He says, "Worth a buy." He said that there was a trouble with the flight sticks regarding the Star Wars Squadrons. You know what? I have not heard that. I know that there is a podcast I listen to. Well, this is really a show, The Den of Nerds. You know, obviously, because I'm a big old nerd myself. They're like comic based, but they deal with comics, movies, stuff like that. The guy Josh, the guy that runs the program, has been playing it with a stick, and he is addicted to it. I mean, like, he's been playing on the Xbox, and he's been loving it, and he has a stick for it. So I haven't heard him complain about any issues. I would definitely look into it. I have not heard anything as of yet, but I do want to bring Mag into the conversation. Now, Mag, obviously, there's no denying the value of Game Pass. I mean, obviously, we've gone over it 100 dozen times about what we're getting with the, you know, with the service for $15 a month, but the addition of EA Play, again, a bigger deal than some of the media is making it out to be. 60 additional games, and of course, if everything goes according to plan, like they have in the past, when a game gets about just before a year old, that game is announced to be in EA, which was EA Access, but now EA Play's Vault. And it seems, like I said, came out November 15th of 2019. The new consoles are launching on November 10th, along with EA. So it seems like maybe I might be onto something, but it would be pretty damn epic to not only get advancements in the game, potentially bringing up the the counts of the numbers that we want. You know, we'd love to see this game run at a steady, locked 4K 60. It could have run more. Well, I mean, obviously we don't know, but it is a new game, relatively new. And to hear that we might be getting additional content, free single player content, is even more exciting. What are your thoughts on this, dude?
Well, first of all, this is a plus in many different ways to me. Okay, so the first things first. If it's coming, it's a huge plus if it's coming to Game Pass. I mean, that's a big bonus for all of us. Now, why is this beneficial? Allow me for a second here. It sold, I believe, at the beginning of the summer or midway through the summer. It ended up selling over 10 million copies. Okay?
Yes.
Now, that there's still an install base. If you think about it for a minute, there's still an install base on the console and PC space, excluding Nintendo, of over 200 million people. So if you think about it that way for a second, that still means that even though it sold really well, there's clearly not everybody played it. Okay, 10 million people, 200 million people out in the wild who are playing on console and PC, specifically PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Now, this would be huge exposure to gamers who didn't pull the trigger last year, and add to that the possible new content to get owners of the game back in. I mean, plus the possibility of next-gen enhancements. This is a huge deal. So now here's a thought. And, I've been a staunch supporter of it. I know it's not always a popular thing. It's not always a popular thought, but we have to sometimes not think about us. Now, hear me out for a second when I say it, what I mean by that. When you have, the naysayers and the Yahoos and the who's and everybody else, and they're talking about, the new Xbox coming out, who's going to play old games, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, people like that, they're missing the point entirely of this, okay? Now, these are moves to entice and bring in a whole different a whole different generation of gamers. Now, let me take another example very quickly for 1 second here. You look at something like Gears 5 that's coming out for the Series X and the Series S edition. I already played it. Okay, you played it. The panels played it. The chats played it. But you might turn on for just a second just to check it out. We might check it out for maybe like 5 seconds. And say, hey, let's take a look what it seems like with ray tracing and all this other stuff and 120 frames per second. Great.
Oh no, I'm going to play through it again.
Oh, are you really? Okay, well, I was just going to check it out because I got so many new experiences to deal with this fall. So I may just poke my head in just to take a look. But there might be a gamer out there, or millions of gamers out there, who maybe last gen only had a PS4. And to them, they pull the trigger on the Xbox because they hear all these wonderful things that Xbox is doing. They've made a great value that they've been offering to all their customers. Now they're about to sit down and play Gears 5 with all those next-gen upgrades for free. And to him or her, this is a completely brand new gen experience, next-gen experience. Now, back to Jedi Fallen Order. There are millions of gamers out there who never played it. Okay, I know 10 million is great, but that's not everybody. Okay, so Xbox might, if we're going down speculation lane right now, Xbox might give them that chance to do so. Now, to them, not us, to them, they're now about to sit down to a full brand new next gen experience. Yep. You see what I'm getting at now? So they're not marketing to us. They're trying to get that whole new group of adopters, maybe people who are leaving the PS4, casuals, whoever. And now they're going to get to experience it for $15 a month. Now, when I say $15 a month, it's not like you're just getting Jedi Fallen Order. You're getting up to 300, especially now you're saying what, about 60 games from EA plus about the 200 games that are in there now. You're going to be talking about almost 300 games. So now if you look at it, Jedi Fallen Order is now a huge bonus for these people. So it's all about perception. That's the way I'm seeing this right now. So I could see this as something that's going to happen. And by putting this game in the spotlight again, and of course, so easily accessible, as I had just said, to gamers, this is an absolutely brilliant move by Microsoft and EA if it comes to fruition, which I can almost guarantee I'm going to stand on that hill because I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it just seems, I mean, again, when you hear from Shinobi, it's usually a lock. Like when I mean, that's why I have alerts for him because he's pretty reliable.
It's pretty dead on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He has a tremendous track record. I've used him as a source before. I mean, obviously, I pulled the same thing that everyone else would. You just go to his Twitter account and you just pull a quote from him. But he's pretty spot on. And I just think that everything seems to be aligning perfectly. And what better way to celebrate EA Play becoming a part of Xbox Game Pass than dropping one of 2019's, again, remember, it was in the Game of the Year talk for a lot of people. Then you drop that in there with enhancements and potentially new free single-player content that extends the story. My God! All I can say is that let's do this right now. But Gaming Forte, let's bring you into the conversation here as we close in on 500 people in the chat. That is absolutely astonishing, I should say. I want to say that if you are here and new, I want to say welcome to the program. Hopefully you like what we have to say good enough, or well enough, I should say, that you want to become a subscriber to Double Barrel Gaming. And also, consider maybe hitting that like button. It does help. And you know what? I have seen tremendous growth. I have blown past the numbers I thought I was going to get in 2020. And you know what? At this point, I say F it. Let's try and get to 10K by the end of 2020. And we're on our way, folks. So if you are here and enjoying the content, consider subscribing to, of course, this channel. But Gaming Forte, listen, there are a lot of switches that Microsoft has been clicking that are green and ready to go. One of which was the surprise announcement. We kind of knew this was going to happen. We heard rumors of it, but it was really nice to have the confirmation that EA Play is now part of Xbox Game Pass. And it just so happens that, like clockwork, usually when a game is just about a year old, that game finds its way to Xbox Game Pass. Do you agree with the panel? And do you think that it seems to be right on pace with a big announcement to have Jedi Fallen Order in Xbox Game Pass through EA Play the day the console launches, potentially with some upgrades and new single-player content?
Yeah, I'm more confident in that happening than anything else, just for the simple fact of, like you just said, all of the games usually a year out. Jedi Fallen Order released on November 19th of last year. So the fact that is almost a year to the date, they're going to want to roll something out at the same time with them saying that they're putting it in Game Pass, because it starts on November 10th with the launch of the new system. So just that is going to be a boom itself. But when you say this is going to be the next game that you're going to normally get a chance to play inside that service, is going to be the next boom, because they're not going to announce that without saying what the games are going to be that's going to be moving into the vote for this year, because they haven't done that so far, except earlier this year when they moved some games in there. So I think it's a really good chance that is definitely going to be what's going to happen. But overall, I'm just excited to see what they're going to be doing with the game in general. I think the DLC that they're going to be releasing is a really good thing, because I think it is going to be new DLC. Because I'm just like you guys, when I see him tweet something, I'm thinking like, dude, this is a really good chance that this is actually going to happen. And then on top of that, the tweet, it was actually taken down too. And normally when you start seeing stuff like that taken down for just any rare reason, it's kind of like smoke and fire. You're going to basically see that actually probably come to fruition in itself. But I'm excited because I can never get enough of Star Wars. I love playing Star Wars. I love the world building that they do inside of that game. I just hope to get even more customability. I hope that they actually update the game, because I know that's one thing they haven't really talked about when it comes to EA, other than putting their games inside of Game Pass. What kind of upgrades are we going to get with these games when it comes to playing them on our next gen system too? So I think that's where I'm more focused on what's going to happen in the next generation. But yeah, I do believe this is the thing. It's right around the corner. Why not just get people super excited for the next game they can play? And it's going to be in the vote. I actually have I have EA Pro on PC, and I have it on not Pro. I just have regular EA Access on console, and I'm going to cancel it as soon as it goes live, so I can just get it as part of my Game Pass subscription.
Yeah,
but yeah, and I think that's it. And what I really want to happen is bring Pro to console. I mean, please bring Pro to console, because right now I'm playing Star Wars Squadron on PC, and look, man, that game is freaking phenomenal, and people.
It is. You know, considering it, leading up to the release of, and you are our resident Star Wars buff, if you will.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he has 76 lightsabers, for crying out loud. So
not that many, but that's a lot.
Yeah, but you do. But yes, and of course, I was being facetious. But you do have a lot of lightsabers, more than you have hands. Let's just say that.
Could be General Grievous, all you know.
It's very true.
You know, Slayer of all Jedi. You never know.
Listen, you could, that could be the reason why you have so many lightsabers. But you know, getting back to Squadrons, this is a game that everyone was hoping was going to be good, because it was little to no fanfare. $40 title, you start to think, well, just a second, $40 and it's EA. I don't know, folks. They
great.
hit it. They hit a home run. They hit a home run. You know something? I don't have the picture. I'm going to try and find it when someone else is talking. Did you guys see that custom Star Wars Rebel controller with the charging stand?
What? Yeah, that was nice.
Oh my God!
Where was I?
I'm going to put it up on the screen. I bought it. It's like the helmet on a controller. It looks insane. Listen, it was $178 with shipping, but you know something? I didn't care, because it came with the full-on charger. You know, you get with like the Gears controller and like the Cyberpunk controller. When I find it, I'm going to put it up on the screen for everybody. It's absolutely stunning. But Forte, I mean, this is. Talk about your experience with that so far with Squadrons.
So I've put 6 hours in on the day it released, and I have the flight stick, and there is problem. I will tell you, because people I know are having problems with some of the stuff going on with the flight sticks. Okay. I am very fortunate to not have that problem, but it is something to do with some of the buttons on the controllers where it's not registering the button press. So that's very unfortunate for some people. But let me tell you, playing on the controller and playing on a flight stick, those are two different things. Like, the game it's fit to be played with a fight stick. You literally almost, if you play in VR, because I know a lot of people, I have actually played it in VR too. It's like an out of body experience playing that game. It's like,
I'm so mad at myself. I'm going to buy it for the I'm going to buy it for the PS4 just because I have PSVR.
Yeah, it's incredible. The soundtrack, I mean, it's Star Wars, man. The soundtrack is always going to be incredible. The sound effects, the laser blasts, that feel the speed that you have when you're playing the game, when you're hitting tight corners and cutting against Imperial starships and because they even teach you how to get close to hulls of the ships and how you have to use the momentum of the ship to go and parallel your way around. Dude, the game has more depth than people think it does. It's pretty incredible. And if you are the type of person like me that likes anything when it comes to like flight, any type of flight games, like I'm a huge fan of Ace Combat 7. That's where I actually got the fight stick with that game so I can play it. You will be at home, and it's Star Wars, man. It's pretty incredible. And the one thing I will say, they've been giving us some crazy dumb games over the course of the generation. But to know that this is going to be a game that is going to last for a lot of people, and it's 4-player? I think it's 5-player co-op. I think that's a whole nother thing. So being able to go against other people, synchronize your teams up. Overall, the game is just incredible, man. So if you get a chance to play it, you definitely should jump in. Did Boom drop, or did he mute himself? Boom. So has any of you?
Yes, I actually didn't mute my. Sorry about that.
I was gonna take off. Say, who else has played this game since Boom's not here?
No, I was gonna get Cyber to start singing while we were waiting.
Hey now, now.
No, I was kidding. I was
dream it's over. Yeah. Hey now. The Series X is here. Sorry,
almost
PlayStation.
Here.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Almost here. Let's go.
Listen,
how you guys doing?
Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey man, glad to be here. Boom. Sorry I'm late, bud. No,
not at all. Listen, this is just silly podcasting. You know, real life is real life. But you know what? You happen to come at the nick of time, simply because we are just about to close out topic number 1, which was, of course, regarding the rumor that Jedi Fallen Order is going to be showing up in EA Play the day that the Series X launches, not only with enhancements specifically for the Xbox Series X and S, but potentially free content, new single player content coming. And that rumor was dropped by Shinobi 602, prominent leaker of information, which of course that tweet has recently been deleted. For you personally, did you get a chance to play through Jedi Fallen Order, or is that one of the games you've been waiting to see if maybe you could play on next gen?
Oh no, hell yeah. I played through that game like crazy. I loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal experience. I played through it. I went for it. I got the full 1,000 achievements on that game. It was a great experience. And by a developer, Respawn, like it seems, let's knock on wood that they can't put out a bad game. I loved it. Now, I will say that there were like some technical hiccups in that game. Like some areas you drop frames, and I'm playing on the One X, right? So just to hear, and we see it throughout a bunch of games with the backwards compatibility, that if you watch Digital Foundry's video with the Series X in hand, you see the technical fidelity, like the upscale that these games are getting, right, from just the power alone. So, man, that'd be awesome. Like just playing that game. I mean, I'm just excited for the extra content if it's going to drop in, and it's going to be part of Game Pass. That'll be amazing too. But yeah, just the frame rates, the graphical fidelity, it'll be amazing, man.
An interesting thing to see, Boom. Sorry to butt in, but an interesting thing to notice is that I by watching the coverage of the Series X with the backwards compatibility, we got to really keep an eye on what titles they're allowed to talk about. So that could be a big indicator that that Jedi is going to be available on EA on November 10th with the update and with the downloadable content, if they don't talk about it from now all the way to November 10th. Because from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing on the different YouTube videos is that, hey, Microsoft is unlocking 200 titles here, 200 titles there. Yeah. So it could be that they're holding that one back. And to go by what Mag was saying, just real quickly, I agree with him 100%. If EA wants this sequel to sell well, they're going to be able to introduce it with a bang on November 10th to 15 million subscribers to Game Pass, and that's going to be huge for them.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastic point. So let me ruin everyone's night by putting this on the screen. I'm gonna probably cause domestic violence. I apologize in advance. So let me just put this to the single player. This is the controller.
Oh my God, I want it now.
Dude,
yeah, that's nice.
Dude, look at that. That's a special edition controller as you could freaking get, man. I'll send you the link, bro. I'll send you the link. But you know what? If you get into a family dispute, please don't blame poor Boom. I didn't mean to do it. Let me get everyone up here. Okay, so listen, let's move on to, of course, the next bits and bytes. And this one is interesting because Bloober team is a developer known for horror. And they have an upcoming exclusive for the Xbox Series X and S, and it is a launch title. And the Medium, that game just recently received a new horrifying gameplay trailer, and based on what I saw, it might be one of the best titles that are launching with, of course, the console. And I'm interested to know what the panel is actually thinking about this, because listen, I've been asked this a lot the last couple of weeks. Boom, what is the first game you're going to play? And I got news for you. As many, and there's going to be a lot of them, a lot of really, really good games. That is the one that I want to play first, simply because it's built for the Series X. And you know what, just to confirm my particular opinion on it, I have some commentary from, of course, the producer of the Medium. It's Jacek Zabaya. He is the producer of the Medium at Bloober team. And he says this: the biggest issue was tech. How do we do the things we want to do? And for the current gen, we started developing for the game with some ideas as a base. But then we thought, okay, this generation is not going to be able to handle what we want to do. Then Xbox Series X came in, and it was like, maybe that will work. And he continues with, we don't feel that there are many boundaries now. With the SSD, when you transition between worlds, there is no loading times. There you are. You're in the game. Transitioned. No load times means better immersion. So, and I'm going to go to John Wolf on this, our guest. You know, when you talk about the Medium, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Medium is going to take the place of the Master Chief, of Halo Infinite, that of course broke our hearts, but we all understood why the delay came. And we're all accepting, listen, let it go back in the oven. We'll see you next year at your anniversary, and it's going to be a big party everyone's going to want to come to, right? But the Medium is a AAA developed game made specifically for the Series X, and it is a launch title, and I think it's going to do very well. But I believe also it's going to be going straight into Xbox Game Pass, and that is pretty big, or should I say a big deal. John, what are your thoughts on the Medium's recently released trailer?
I thought it was absolutely incredible. It has a way to really make you pay attention to the ambiance and the surroundings of the game. When you really start taking a look at the gameplay elements as they introduce that in the spiritual world, you'll be able to affect the puzzles that are going on in the real world. It becomes a really unique gameplay element that at least I've never experienced before, and it's one that excites me because this is something that they're definitely pushing the envelope on, and it's something that I see a lot of developers are going to try to replicate after the Medium comes out. But it's something about it's giving me this Silent Hill vibe.
Yes,
it's giving me it's one of those games that you need to have in my opinion, you need to shut the lights down, put on a headset, and be fully immersed in. But the trailer, to answer your question, the trailer completely blew me away. That creature that was walking in the background, I'm a sucker for horror stuff, so as soon as I saw that, I knew it was day one for me. I'm going to be playing the game on day one for sure. And it was awesome, man. They really impressed me, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to pull a quote from Games Radar. Their quote was, "The medium is basically a new Silent Hill," and and they have Akira Yamakoda is doing, I believe, the sound for that game, and he worked exclusively with Silent Hill. That's a big get for a small team, and obviously, you said it, and I feel it. I'm just watching the trailer. I was like, this is Silent Hill 2 all over again for next gen. Mag, I want to go to you next if you are there, brother.
Oh, I am here. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk the medium. Again, this is a game that is not and has not been getting enough fanfare by the media. Now, I can't say why that is, and I'm not going to scream media bias. I just think that people seem to just be looking over the work of Bloober team. Obviously, their last game was Blair Witch, which was freaking frightening as all heck, and quite frankly, was really a really well done title. Though this game, the medium, has AAA banger written all over it. What were your thoughts and takeaways from the trailer I added to the DM?
Well, I not only watched just that trailer, I actually watched a ton of different videos about it, and I watched the developer breakdown and everything else of one of the levels that they played. Very interesting stuff. Now, just like what John Wolf said there, the vibe I'm getting from this game is actually not just Silent Hill. I'm getting like a Resident Evil meets Alan Wake meets Silent Hill.
Yes.
So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from all three of those games. It's almost like a love letter to the entire genre, so to speak, which I'm a huge fan of. Yes, I played Blair Witch. I thought it was good. I played it through. And the other thing is, before we even dive into what I'm about to say here, though, isn't it nice that we get to play it on Game Pass?
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful? Like, I mean, that's not being puffed up enough. Is that this is not a $70, $60, whatever paywall where you're saying, well, you know, I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence. No, Xbox gamers, PC gamers who have Game Pass are getting this day one, and we get to play it, as well as all those other magnificent games that are going to be in there and are already in there now. So that's a huge bonus. I just wanted to put that out there. Now, a couple of interesting things that I watched from one of the videos is that there was a really cool thing that I liked. It's called, like, I believe it was called like the Spirit Charge ability, and it affects both worlds. I thought that was a really cool little feature where the girl kind of like did this thing, and it was almost like she was like harnessing power in her hand, like energy or electricity, and then it affected the other, like the real world while she was in the spirit world. I thought that was very cool. Now, the reason why I brought that up is that I hope, you know, for their sake, and for the fluidity and gameplay, that they keep it relatively simple. This is the only thing that I have a slight concern about. They have to keep it simple. And I don't mean simple like, you know, simple gameplay. They have to keep the mechanics of it simple so that, I mean, I could foresee the game getting very convoluted and confusing if they take this back and forth too far. So they have to know when to rope it in. And that's where I'm watching, and I'm like, I hope it's not too over the top, because you know what's going to happen? Some gamers might get confused. They might get a bit, you know, be like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. The clock's turning one way and I'm going the other way. What's happening? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, then all of a sudden, you know what they're going to do? They're going to get turned off. And if they get turned off, they're not going to play the game. So like I said, I hope for their sake, and I'm hoping myself, because I'm really excited for this game. I hope that they just, you know, rope it all in and keep it at a very solid, tight, focused experience, not gimmicky. And the way I see it is that they hope that they actually maintains an all-around tight package. I think this game will be a success. Once again, it's going to be on Game Pass, so you're going to already have 30 million eyeballs already looking at this day one.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are you going to say?
No, I was going to say, no doubt about that.
Yeah, so you got 30 million eyeballs already seeing it, right? So that excludes, you know, people on the other side of the fence, or anybody else looking at this game, or even just to purchase the game who don't have Game Pass. Is it going to be my first load up? No. And I'm going to say why, because my first load up for me is going to be Doom Eternal. And now I know it's out right now, but I'm actually, and it's really hurting me every single day, but I want to play it in all its next gen glory, and it ain't going anywhere because Microsoft owns them now. Okay. So it's going to stay in Game Pass now. So that's going to be my first load up, is going to be Doom Eternal. And then I'm going to throw this in there. I know it's going to be post-Halloween, but I could pretend for a week that it's still Halloween. So I really look forward to this game. And I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to see what they do. And you never know. Maybe they might be part of the Xbox family one day.
Yeah, no, well, you know what? That's actually a great point. You know, that leads me into Tempest Sun. Tempest, listen, when you look at Bloober team, I've said this from the beginning. I think that they should be a Microsoft first party. And again, like Mag was saying, it could potentially happen, and we do have confirmation from Satya Nadella himself, not even Phil Spencer, but Satya saying, yeah, we are actively looking for additional teams. And I think Bloober would be a fantastic niche because they work on horror. And if they had the Microsoft budget, they could make something unbelievably epic. But it looks like they already have in the medium. What were your thoughts and takeaways from the trailer I added to the DM?
I think it looks, honest to goodness, really, really interesting. It kind of reminds me if we had like this split screen functionality, instant loading in like Resident Evil 0. Like it's because you can break off and it looks like you can freeze time in whichever, like, the spirit world or the normal world, and go and do stuff. And it's just something new. I think that's the biggest takeaway from me is I really haven't seen this done yet. And I think that's what the developers were getting at, graphically speaking, frame rate, whatever, that stuff. Obviously, it's not breaking any new grounds there, but you are quite literally playing in two game worlds at once or pausing it. And these types of mechanics can be really interesting. One criminally, I think, underplayed game, and I mean criminally underplayed, is Dishonored 2. If you guys haven't played Dishonored 2 yet, that game is out of this world good. And there is a level in there that blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. And in that level, you can actually see into the past, and it helps you out. You can go back and forth. So you're quite literally playing like two levels at once. It was a little bit more of a limited scope than what they're doing here, but that mechanic, it blew me away. That, and not to go too off the rails, but there was another level where the actual level transforms while you're inside of it. So that game's fantastic. And hey, they're Arcane Studios. It's a first party.
Yeah,
studio now. Yeah,
wild, right?
It's crazy to think about, because I wasn't even thinking about that, making the connection. But so I've played with kind of mechanics sort of like this, and it blew me away. So it's very neat stuff, and no, I'm excited for it. I dig the fact that she gets white hair in the spirit world. That looks cool. So I don't know how much like scary it's going to be. Hopefully there's some good jump scares in there. I dig that stuff. But I don't know. The music is going to be incredible. That's a given. And like Mag said, man, it's day one in Game Pass when it comes out. I mean, you can't beat that. If there's stuff in the works and they will be a first party studio, I don't know that. But the fact that so far, as far as we know, they're not a first party studio and it's a third party game coming day and date to Game Pass. I mean, you can't argue with that, and if you're even remotely interested in the horror genre at all, it's like, give it a shot, and it is definitely something new. That's the biggest thing I'd say interests me, is it just feels like a whole new thing to do in a game. So it's got me pretty excited, honestly. So I'm looking forward to it.
I have a feeling that this game is going to be a lot like Hellblade, where when you're done with it, you're going to automatically say, wow, what an experience. It's giving me like the same vibe. That's the same thing that everybody had in common, which was pretty much when they were done with Hellblade, they're like, what an experience. I have a feeling that this game is probably going to hit that same, that same stride.
That's what I'm hoping for too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that if you read a lot of the commentary from the team at Bloober, they said that the instantaneous transfer from one world to the other, because the way that they show the game is not how you're going to play it. You're not going to play the game with an upside down, two world aspect. They're showing you that because they're basically displaying what you're going to be seeing in each world, but you can go back and forth with the press of a button, and there's no loading times. And I love the fact that they built the game specifically to run on the Series X and S because of the hardware and the power of that solid state drive. It is super, super exciting. Listen, folks. folks, we're closing in on 600 people here. I want to welcome everyone to tonight's show. Share this out. Let people know that the best show on Monday evenings is, in fact, Primetime Gaming. And maybe we can get some more subscribers to come hang out with us. Kay Asante, a very generous friend of the show, drops an outstanding. In fact, it is the first super chat of the night. Kay Asante, thank you for being here, brother, but thank you for your generosity. He says, good evening to the panel. I second Tempest's son. People need to play Dishonored 2. Criminally underrated. You know what? I want to go next to, of course, Cybernox. Cybernox, I don't necessarily know if you had a chance to check out the video, but this is a game that no one is really talking about. And even though I understand that there are bigger games in this, this is an exclusive to the Series X built for the new console. Are you excited to play this? And what did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I did have a chance to check out the trailer. Now, I'll be completely honest. When I first saw this game, back when they first revealed it, I think it was sometime either last year or the beginning of this year. I was 50-50 on it, but the more I see of this game, like the more intrigued I am. Like, I'm a big horror guy. I love the horror genre. I love playing horror games, and this trailer just amplified my my hypeness for this game. The immersion, the sense of immersion that you get when she's talking and when she's walking around, man, it hit me like on all the right levels. I'm extremely excited, man. I'm excited to see how that's gonna work. I think I've mentioned the transition between the two worlds is gonna work. I remember I mentioned this in the show a few months back. The only game that I can remember doing something like that was Titanfall 2 during one of the missions where you can actually transition between the past and your present time. And I thought that was like, wow, that was a game changer. And now here he's got Bloober, right?
Yeah, Bloober team.
Bloober team. They're doing it to a whole nother level. It's literally pretty much almost like the whole game. You're going to be able to transition between these two worlds, and they're nailing it, man. I looked at it. The graphic looks great. The atmosphere, it just feels. I think Wolf said it earlier. It feels like a Silent Hill game. You know, you're getting like a little the best, like from you had so much material from all these other genres that you can kind of like pull everything together into one game, and it's looking amazing, and I'm really excited. And kind of like Max said, it's gonna be on Game Pass. Like, even if this is not your bag, even if this is typically not a genre that you like to explore, if you're a member of Game Pass, you can essentially go ahead, try this game without like nothing going against you. You can try it, see if you like it. That's the whole point of Game Pass, like that discovery mechanism that allows you to experience new things. And yeah, man, I'm excited for this. It looks good. That trailer really amped me up for it. It was great. And Tempest, I'm sorry, I'm in that camp. I haven't played Dishonored 2, and I have the game. I bought the game when it came out.
I could tell, man. You didn't reference that level. You got to get on that.
Man. I know. So I'm sure there are probably other games that did something similar or to that same extent, but the only one that I've personally experienced was Titanfall 2 during that level. But
real quick story. I'm throwing her under the bus here, but I actually got that game for my wife because she saw the trailer and she's like, man, she looks so cool. That game looks so much fun. I got it, and like I started playing it. I just didn't stop. So I played it and she didn't.
So really excited for the medium, man. I think it's gonna be it could potentially be one of those sleeper hits, so yeah, excited for it.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to be a sleeper hit. Real quick, but Gaming Forte, before I bring you into the conversation, Goose8402 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Series X gameplay will debut soon. If they're able to nail it, the excitement will reach a new level that no one could have imagined. This is so fun. Yeah, dude, it is a great time to be an Xbox gamer, especially considering that depending on who you ask, for most of the generation, they have been the underdog. They have been in third place with the huge success of Sony. And of course, the out of the gate success of the Nintendo Switch. And there are only 3 people really doing this, and they're in third place. And with everything that they have been doing right, it seems as if they are running like as fast as you could possibly run into the next generation, and to get away from this generation where there's so many mistakes were made, and it's certainly an exciting time. But Forte, when you think about Xbox Game Pass, a game like Bloober Team's The Medium completely shatters the Game Pass filler narrative. And obviously, we're starting to see that the Xbox has no games, and Xbox Game Pass's filler narrative completely just be wiped off of the conversation. And this is another big reason. It's a AAA developed game specifically for the Series X and S. It is built for these two consoles. It is a launch game and it's going in Game Pass day and day. Did you get a chance to check out the trailer? And what do you think that Xbox Game Pass means to a game like this that is a new IP?
So yeah, I did check out the trailer. I think, first of all, the game looks incredible. I think the one thing that I like the most about these smaller studios is they're willing to do something different, try to do something that's going to like break a certain mode, or try to introduce more thought-provoking ways of actually getting people to engage with their games and stuff. Because once you get up to that AAA level, it seems like a lot of studios, for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, a lot of them like to just try to keep it safe for what they know is going to work with their fans. Because when you have a huge fan base, it's expectations tied to that fan base. When you're making a new IP, it gives you an opportunity to do anything that you want to do, because the sky is the limit. And the fact that this is going to be in Game Pass day one just even speaks to more of the fact that there's going to be a lot of people that's going to get a chance to play this game. The fact that it's going to be launching with the new system. This is going to be one of the few games. This is going to be one of the few games that are launching day and date with the system that isn't already released. So a lot of people are going to be trying it out just because it's new. It's not going to be, it's like these older games that all of these different outlets are testing and all that stuff. So when this game does come out, it will give you something that hasn't been able to be played before on any platform. So it definitely speaks to the breadth that Game Pass is going to be bringing to not just gaming in general, but just to Xbox, because Xbox is definitely using this as a jumping stone or a launch board to take them to places that they want to go. The fact that it's going to be usable in all these different countries where console gaming isn't as relevant as it is on the streaming side. And the fact that they added xCloud as part of it back in September 15th is going to be even another way for people to try this game out. And we all know that as of right now, Xbox is literally becoming one of the best places to play if you want to be in that horror genre type atmosphere. And I think this is going to be just another great inclusion to let people just play how they want to play where they want to play. And I think this game is going to really surprise a lot of people. Overall, I do like what they've been showing. I just want to see exactly what what all the options are going to be in the game once it does release, the following up with this system coming out on November 10th.
It's kind of a boom. If I could it's kind of a shame that not a shame, but it would be awesome if this game actually released this month, just because of October, Halloween. They can put two
exactly,
in, it would have been kind of dope. But obviously, it has to release with a console, so I completely understand. It would have been kind of dope.
It would have, and I got to be honest with you. Again, this is not a topic, and we're going to go into too much depth. But I honestly believe that the original plan, and we have heard this, and I actually have heard this from an inside source, that Microsoft wanted to launch early October. But obviously, the world being the world, and it, falling back into peril, it seems, with COVID exploding once again. This is the reason why I'm going to be honest with you. I'm happy just to know that we're going to get a console or two now, or three, really, because of the S. But I did hear, I mean, I think that what's going to wind up happening is you're going to be able to walk into a store and get an X. Phil Spencer has said publicly that they are stockpiling Series X's and S's for the launch of the console on November 10th. So I think you're going to be able to get, if you want one, I think you're going to be able to get one. I know that you'd rather have a pre-order locked up, but I am going to say that there's been a lot of, especially with Walmart and Amazon, a lot of cancellations, man. I mean, I don't like buying anything from them for that particular reason, because you lock in, you're waiting overnight, you finally, after 3 hours of hitting the spam button, you finally get through F5 all the way, and you wind up getting a cancellation. It sucks. But hopefully you do are you able to get one. Real quick, I just got to shout out a good I like the name, and I'm going to bring up the Brujo X in the chat. The reason why that means Brujo is if you know, that is a male witch, if you will, or a warlock. But my wife, her gamer tag is Mystic Brujita, and
nice.
Wow. So I do know a little Spanish, folks. That is, my family is originally from Madrid, Spain. So I do have the roots. But nice. Listen, let's bring in now. This is the topic that's going to be potentially a little spicy. Now, look, I'm going to just take the mic for a second here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a explanation as to what rabbit hole we're going to be going down. Now, look. Everyone that is anyone knows that my prior career, I was known as Officer Friendly. I was a New York City police officer for 21 years, served the city, grew up in the projects, or as they like to be called now, the housing development. So I came from poverty. And of course, my family built themselves up, and I built myself to where I am today. But bringing it back to being a police officer, when you were going to present a case, you needed to have evidence. And that evidence needed to be in the form of not only, your muscle memory from the, remembering the crime, but it also came with notes and facts. So the next particular topic that we're going to go into concerns Sony. And I know that what you may be saying to yourself, well, what the H is he talking about? How does being a police officer equate with Sony? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. This past weekend was supposed to be a revelation for the PlayStation 5 on many levels. We were going to get new information of the elusive PlayStation 5, which, by the way, launches in 39 days. And quite frankly, we basically still don't know a whole lot of what Sony is, what's inside of this PlayStation 5, other than they're going to charge $500 for one and $400 for the other. Now, since September 16th, which was the big PlayStation 5 reveal event. Remember, we got release date. We also got what the console looked like. We also got some launch games. We also got the pre-order information. Everything that we wanted, we got on September 16th. But since then, there's been little to no information. And unfortunately, for Sony and its fans, and I'm one of them because I have a PlayStation 5 ordered, as well as every peripheral and 6 games, by the way, paid for in full. There's been more confusion and reluctance to give players anything tangible. So I want to present to the jury my argument as to why I believe Sony is in a bit of trouble, and players certainly need to start worrying a bit. Now, obviously, good friend of the show, King David, that's right, one of the biggest voices on the Iron Lords podcast, has been beating his drum that he believes a delay of the console is coming. And I know people have poo-pooed him in the past, but you know what? I think he's a prophet, and he kind of knows his stuff. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you just never know. And I put it this way, I never bet against the king. So let me just break down what has transpired since the 16th of September. And when I'm done with this list, folks, I think everybody, the near 600 folks that are here, including the panel, are going to sit back in their chairs and say, you know something, Boom? I think you got a case here. So let's start with this. After the 16th, right? September 16th, everyone's excited. We have confirmation, Demon Souls is coming, launch. Everyone's excited, right? We got Spider-Man, Miles Morales. We have Bug Snacks. We have a few other titles that are going to be there day and date. We're all excited. PlayStation coming. Great. Well, this is what has transpired negatively against Sony since that particular date. The PlayStation 5 Reserve debacle that angered more PlayStation fans than made them happy. Obviously, that was right after the event. It was supposed to be a controlled and well-detailed information regarding reserves, and that obviously went to the wayside. People broke street dates, and it was basically the Wild West. Then, of course, in a blog post, Sony's Jim Ryan, or Jim Dancing Shoes Ryan to some, lies to the millions of fans where, if you recall in his big speech about wanting to keep things as exclusive to the PlayStation 5, we believe in generations, was utter BS. And he obviously angered loads and loads of people, which I believe Sony was using terror tactics into forcing people to upgrade to the PlayStation 5 instead of just coming and being forthright and I guess transparent like Microsoft and saying, you know what, if you can't upgrade now, no problem. We'll let you play, Spider-Man, Miles Morales on your PlayStation 4 and upgrade when you can. Or, of course, Horizon, the Forbidden West. Don't worry about it, brother, sister. You can play on your PlayStation 4. We're not leaving anyone behind. But that's not what Jim said. And obviously, he lied, straight up lied to the millions of fans that have supported that brand. Then in the one of the interviews, and I believe it was with industry.biz, he confirms that there were going to be no PlayStation 1, 2, or 3 backwards compatibility, and that was confirmed by Jim Ryan himself. Again, upsetting the millions of fans that were hoping that they could play their copy of Twisted Metal Black on their PlayStation 5. Well, that's not going to happen. Then we also had that, PS4 backwards compatibility. Does anyone really know what's going on? Because I certainly do not. We've heard 100 games. We've heard 4,000 games. But have we heard anything since? The answer is no. Sony has been coy and dead silent on that particular aspect. Whereas Microsoft, look at the other side of the coin, has told us that they expect nearly every Xbox, OG Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One game to be available at launch on November 10th. And that's coming directly from Jason Ronald. The second round of reserves, and obviously our very good friend, Gaming Forte, can attest to this, were in very small amounts. He had hundreds of people lined up, and he only had 8 consoles, and that was his store. And we've heard the reservations were even lower in some other ones. And obviously, again, coming on 39 days to launch, this is not good. But, of course, the bad news continues with this that broke over the weekend, besides the debacle that was the Japanese YouTuber content creation community having their event. PlayStation 4 saves will not work on many of the next-generation PS5 titles, like, of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales, a first-party game. No PlayStation. We also have confirmed from the developers Dirt 5. Your saves will not be able to cross over. Same thing with Yakuza Like a Dragon. Okay, so we also have the increase on Sony's first-party games to $70, which I'm telling you, as someone that had to pay for these games, it hurts, that additional $10. And of course, Jim Ryan confirming that PlayStation Game Pass is not a thing. It is not profitable. It's not sustainable. Good luck on a power pass or whatever you want to call it for the player's pass ever coming to Sony's machine. And of course, over the weekend, once again, the leaked rumor of the SSD storage size being 664 gigabytes from the original 825. And of course, if you remember when the Microsoft X was confirmed to be 602 left available, a lot of the boo birds came out and called. I guess they took Microsoft to task, and it turns out that Sony's is even lesser. And then, of course, the leaked rumor UI that was side by side with, of course, the Series X. It appears that that the PlayStation UI, at least to boot the system, is 3 seconds slower than the Series X, and considering they touted the SSD, being so much better, another black eye. But this was the last thing, and obviously John Wolf and I were talking prior to the show going live, and I just added this at the last minute. And it is disturbing. Now there is a game by that's published by Gearbox, and that is, of course, what's the name of the game? I can't believe I forgot.
Godfall.
Godfall. Yes, thank you, sir. Godfall is coming out. And I bought the $100 edition because, you know, obviously it's going to have DLC. It's like Destiny, and I do like Destiny, so I'm going to take a chance on a new IP. Here's the problem, folks. It has been confirmed, and this is from the developer themselves, that unless you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you will not be able to play this game offline. That's right. You heard me right. If you want to play this game in single player format, this game will be rendered utterly useless if you do not have PlayStation Plus. This has been confirmed by both Sony and the developer. Another unbelievable move. So I'm going to go to John Wolf. John, listen, when you look at what Sony has done, and this is post September 16th, right? So this is not made up, folks. This is the evidence I have presented to you. If you are a Sony player, there is a lot to be concerned about. And I'm a Sony player, and I feel like Sony is certainly limping, maybe even someone considered crawling into the next generation. What happened? How the 180, John? What are your thoughts on everything that I have presented? And when you look at the other side of the aisle, what Microsoft has done right and continue to do right, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, Boom, I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's Microsoft has completely outshined Sony leading up to this 9th generation. And I really do believe Sony got caught off guard. It's the only explanation that I can logically think of. You see me sitting here. I have my Xbox shirt on. In the introduction, I admitted to everyone I'm an Xbox gamer. I prefer Xbox, but with that said, I still own Nintendo and PlayStation because I'm a gamer first. So I'm completely shocked that Sony has done a complete 180 on a lot of their things. With the news that came out today, just shows you how I don't know where the disconnect is in the organization, at least to me, with the simple fact that they have switched over the command button from circle to X in Japan. That just shows you right there that it's a small thing, but what happened to your tradition, Sony? That's tradition for you guys. And there's a lot of Japanese gamers, from what I'm reading, are really upset at that.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you right there that it appears, at least, okay, that they might be taking their gamers for granted, and they need to be called out the same way that us Xbox fans call out Microsoft whenever they're messing up or whenever they're going off the road. We need to say, hey, you guys need to get your stuff together here. And I do believe that Sony needs to be called out by their fans. And the reason that I think all of this has happened, let's give credit to Microsoft and Phil Spencer here, okay? Because again, I believe that they punched Sony right in the mouth, and they punched them so hard that they haven't been able to recover. So they thought they were going to just be able to say, hey, this is a PS5. You'll find out about it whenever you do. We know you're all excited about it. It's going to sell out anyways, right? So why do we even have to try? Why do we have to show you what we have? Why do we have to prove to you that you should buy our system? And that's the attitude I've been getting. And don't get me wrong, like I mentioned, I pre-ordered a PS4 digital. It's my wife's. She got it for me for Christmas. That's going to be my Christmas gift. I'm looking forward to Miles Morales. Looking forward to Godfall. A lot of gamers will tell you, oh, Boom, why are you comparing? Why are you bringing that up with Sony wanting to charge people when Microsoft has been doing that this whole last generation with the free-to-play games? They do have that Xbox Live paywall. But again, this is just another indication, and Microsoft is messing up there. They do need to remove that. Everybody agrees universally. But one thing is, Sony now, hey, is this their new standard? Are free-to-play games, do you need PSN Plus to be able to play these games? I think there's trouble brewing here, Broom. I really do.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Now, real quick, before I move on to Tempest Sun on this particular major topic, I kind of want to get your point and theory on what transpired this weekend on Sunday, more specifically with the very, very controlled event. And look, I'll say this. Look, and I want this to be completely clear. the humor and the when it comes to Japan is much different than here in the States, right? Their levity is completely different. So something that we find to be not funny, they would find to be hilarious, and that's because of the culture, and I totally understand that. But what I can say is I watched about four of the videos. And it was quite a few of them. They had about I think it might have been like between 6 and 8 of their big YouTubers from Japan. There are a couple of questions that I walked away from this event asking. For the first being that it seemed not only very controlled, it seemed overacted. Again, you could be excited about something. It just seemed as if it was over the top acting and not actually being excited. Now, whether that's true or not, I can't confirm, folks. I have no idea. What I can confirm is my suspicion that there's something brewing at Sony. And I say that because why go to Japan first when that particular market is a market that has been shrinking over the course of the last 10 years. Japan, if you don't know, used to be one of the biggest. I mean, people would line up for 4 days at a clip to get their hands on a new Nintendo or a new PlayStation. I wouldn't say that they lined up to get an Xbox, but that's a show for another day. But what I can tell you is that it has become a very heavy mobile market. Right now, the biggest selling console is not the PlayStation. It's certainly not the Xbox. It's the Nintendo Switch for its portability. Again, the mobile gamer has become the prominent gamer in Japan. Why not take the PlayStation 5 to, I don't know, maybe somebody like Digital Foundry or Austin Evans or Rich Review Tech, who's closing in on 1 million subs? The guys at Spawn Wave. I mean, those guys... right? Why not bring it to one of them first, or at least a dual kind of a situation? Because it's again a lot of questions. First of all, Wolf, what were your thoughts on the way that this event went down?
I thought it was absolutely horrendous. Boom! I woke up yesterday super early, looking forward to PS5 news, looking forward to the UI. Seeing what we were gonna get come November, and I just turned it off, man. I couldn't even take it. I've seen the gameplay with Godfall already. I mean, I'm sold on the game. Don't get me wrong. I want to play the game.
Oh, me too. I have no doubt about it. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome. That they showed off how fast you're gonna be able to load when you die. That was awesome. I give it to them. That's something that's gonna be great. But the show was horrendous, and I know that we weren't the targeted audience, so let's mention that. But at the same time, like, come on, that you guys got to do better than that. There's the expectation is so high right now that you should know better. Your marketing team should know better than to put out a product like that. That's just my opinion.
No, and you know what, you're spot on. And obviously you weren't a part of the DM. But I got like Tempest Son has a lot to say on this. But Tempest, before I get to you, let me just first of all apologize because I missed Bounty Boom's super chat, but I do have it in front of me. First of all, Bounty Boom, thank you for the super chat, and of course, always supporting Double Barrel Gaming. Definitely appreciate that. He says this: "Let's go, Boom, and hit that like button, people. What's up, Forte?" Indeed, thank you for the channel support, but also, of course, the generous donation. We also had a super chat just come in from a very good friend of the show, Safe Space Invader, drops an outstanding $5 super chat and says the Xbox Series X is 20 to 30% more powerful. And we've heard that from Dealer Gaming many, many months ago, where he said the power delta, and those are his words, is significantly in the favor of the Series X. He says 20% more memory. First-party games cost 17% more than Xbox Game Pass price and performance, as well as Phil promised. Indeed, yeah, Phil made a lot of promises, and Phil is delivering on those promises. Tempest Son, you and I, we were having a conversation, and look, again, we understand the levity of Japan is, again, I want to stress this, it is different than here in the States. But coming from my background, my brother Neil Mental and I, we were huge anime fans, and we became fans of their humor. I found nothing funny about what was transpiring. As a matter of fact, I found it not only degrading, I found it embarrassing. And I could not believe that Sony was allowing this. And again, the overacting was just so over the top. I found it to be gross. What were your thoughts on what I talked about first, about how Sony has dropped the ball post September 16th, and now the cherry on top of this dump Sunday, in my opinion, is the event that happened on Sunday?
Right. I'll tackle, I guess. Well, you know what? You said it perfectly when you lined up the questioning and the topic. There's still so much that we don't know. This thing that they put on was very controlled. In comparison, like I just told you earlier, IGN Japan, their version of what supposedly like some of the YouTubers got over there, they just got the Series X and they just have it, right? They're showing it off and they're going to test it out, post stuff just like a lot of the people in the States were. I think you said somebody influential in Germany got one.
Yes.
The way they're doing it is the way I would want to see it. I mean, this event was so stinking controlled, so limited in what they showed. It was kind of bizarre. I at this point here, I know people are dying to see some actual gameplay on the Series X. From what I understand, that's coming. It's coming very soon. Should we have waited this long for it? I feel like we shouldn't, but they have a game plan, and so far their game plan has knocked our socks off. Let's be honest. With their rollout of content. I mean, we're so spoiled, from Xbox, we wanted news today because it's a Monday and we didn't get it. I was like, dang it.
I hardly slept on Sunday, dude. Sundays are becoming tough to sleep.
Exactly. We're getting spoiled. So, I mean, the fact we didn't get anything, it's kind of whatever. They can't show us something every week, but that's how they're handling things. And in retrospect, Sony, this show wasn't for us. It was geared towards them, but I will say this. Just like you, Boom. I mean, you used to import stuff all the time.
Yep.
I've seen some actual Japanese programming, like their TV. They overact. They overact in their gestures. They put it in their games, their anime, their live action movies. They do over what we consider overacting is kind of the norm over there. Their gestures, their movements, everything is like over the top. But this was a whole nother level. This was I mean, I'm not, I don't want to talk poor about the guy. I don't even know his name, but one of the main ones that everybody's making memes about.
You're talking about the guy looks like Austin Powers?
Austin Powers, the worst one. And I was like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh God, it was like Japanese Elton John. That's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh my goodness gracious. So yeah, the overacting was extreme. They decided to put more emphasis on blowing on the controller and showing how that changes the game.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is the kind of crap we got on the 3DS or the DS from Nintendo like years ago, man. I'm like, and the one like he's jerking the controller, like making jumping, and I'm just like, I'm watching that. I'm like, nobody is ever going to do that, and if they do, somebody needs to put them in the loony bin. They need to put them in a home quickly because it's ridiculous. But yeah, dude, this was over the top. And you know what? It is for them, but it was for the Japanese audience. But Sony knows we were going to see it.
Now, of course, we're starving for information.
Exactly. So like they knew. And so they for this being their first like real showing, I mean, it was so controlled, Boom, that right or wrong, there was many people, a lot of them, of course, were probably Xbox guys that were like, was this thing even on? But dude, you have to ask yourself the question. Like one of the videos they showed, there was no LED lights. I mean, the PlayStation 4 has a bright white light on it when it's playing, or when you boot it up, it's a bright blue light. I mean, that PS5, they've shown in every picture or everything they've shown it, there's two blue lights going up the entire thing. and there was no lights, but they're like, oh, it's whisper quiet. Couldn't hear it at all. Maybe it is that whisper quiet, but people were actually questioning if the thing was on.
You know, it's funny you should say that because hold on. Yeah, if Bounty Boom drops an additional, very generous $10 super chat, and this is what he says. He goes, I went and looked at the Japanese YouTube video again. Is it just me, or is it look the system was not even on? Remember, Sony's again. There you go.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was on, and in one of the videos shown playing Godfall, a mouse. It could have, I don't know. It could have been the stream stuff. I don't know. I'm not saying, but when a mouse pops up on a console game, it's kind of suspect. It's a little strange. So there is footage of a mouse popping up and like moving on the screen. So people are wondering, is this a dev kit? You know, what is this? And you just don't know because it's such a controlled environment, you know? And I don't know. I think it's screwy, man. Do they have something to hide? I can't answer that. All I do know is they are in, I don't want to say console war because that's stupid, but you know, but they have competitors right now that are launching a console before they are, right? They're the same price and their console kicks the crap out of yours. They have something called Game Pass that you couldn't even prayer to match. Not only did they get Bethesda, which is now their studios, it's their studios in games that are just not going to be touching a play. Like I can't even fathom the amount of games that the Sony brand just lost completely. And so they need to do whatever they can to be like, no, don't leave us, because I mean, it's just crazy to me. The two dynamics between the two companies. It's, you know, I of course I root for Xbox, but I've owned every PlayStation, and you know, maybe they don't want to. Maybe what they're hiding is the fact that their console really is that much weaker than the competition. Because Digital Foundry just did a breakdown of the ray tracing. Dealer Gaming, go to his channel. He just did a video covering what Digital Foundry said. They legitimately just said the PlayStation's probably, the PS5 is probably like a 2060 Super equivalent in power. Mm-hmm. It's not enough. It is just quite simply.
Well, when you compare, when you say that, and again, this is something we're gonna go into like heavy detail. I'm putting the show together for Thursday. It's gonna be an epic show. But just imagine that the PlayStation 5, which is the same price as the Series X, is a 2060 Super, right? Yeah. And in the Series X, you're getting a 2080 Super. I mean, you're getting a massive delta in power.
It is massive
for the same price.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely massive. And on top of that, like if they had a much faster CPU than Xbox or something, I would say maybe they could tackle it in a different manner instead of just, you know, flexing your GPU. But that's not the case. I mean, you overclock the GPU, you lose your CPU. You overclock your CPU, you lose your GPU. So I just, there's no winning here. I just don't understand. And I truly do feel Insomniac Games are like literal wizards. I mean, they are fantastic developers, and I do believe that they're not getting every ounce of juice out of the system. That doesn't happen for years from now, right? But their first efforts, just watch that Digital Foundry video. It's just disappointing, you know? Yeah. So maybe that's what they're hiding, but it is what it is. They can't cancel everything and just redo it. That would end their gaming division, right? So this is it is what it is. So I mean, it's a mess, dude, and I wish it wasn't such a mess, because sooner or later they are going to have games that are not on Xbox or not on PC. It's going to happen, and I'm going to want one, and I just wish it was better. So
yeah, no doubt about that. You know, let's bring in the middle-aged gamer guy here, because I know that you were heavily opinionated in the DM. Before I do, though, let me first of all thank Kay Asante for becoming a channel member. Hey, dude, thank you for your ultimate support. Obviously, becoming a channel member, supporting Double Barrel Gaming. But you, of course, are so generous already, so thank you for that. And we also have Mariano Pampa drops a very generous $10 super chat. It's so dope. He doesn't even say anything. He just drops $10. Thank you for being here, Mariano. Definitely appreciate that. Mag, listen. You've heard the way I presented the evidence to the jury, and you're a part of this jury. And right now, it's not looking good. Sony's getting 25 to life for sure, based on the documentation I have provided versus what Xbox has done. But on top of that, I need you to tackle this. And of course, you like to speak just like me, so take it away. What were your thoughts on yesterday's debacle known as the YouTube event from Japan?
First of all, they're not getting 25 to life. They're getting the chair. Okay. They're getting the chair. Old Sparky's calling, Sony. Okay. Anyways, all kidding aside. Before I even get started in all this, and I don't want to rile anybody up. Okay. It's all for fun and games, but let me tell you something. And it's my mantra: love PlayStation, hate Sony. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get that straight. But anyways, I got this feeling that one of these days, Tom Cruise is going to show up as Agent Hunt from Mission Impossible, and he's going to pull off Jim Ryan's mask, and it's going to reveal Don Matrick. Okay? All of a sudden, it's going to be like, if it wasn't for you meddling kids. You know, anyway, that's what anyways, besides all that. By the way,
only old people listen.
Yeah,
only
exactly.
the old folks in the room understand that that's from Scooby-Doo from the 60s, right? We're old. We're old.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, another little side note, by the way, the microphone on the controller. Does that mean they're going to be listening to us and spying on us? Everybody remember that? 2013 wasn't that long ago, kids. Okay? Wasn't that long ago. Anyways, I don't know what the hell that even was. But I'm not going to lie. And this is going to sound a little ridiculous, but that Astrobot game, it actually looked kind of fun. I want to play it.
It's a platformer. Yeah. It comes preloaded. I'm going to play that.
I'm going to play that day one as soon as I get it. Now, here's the other thing, though. If people thought that Xbox 2013 was a bad start, and by the way, they had a ton of amazing games to launch with that system, this PS5 gen reveal has been nothing short of a tragedy to me, and to a lot of other people out there, okay? I mean, I would imagine anyway. But I mean, I was really looking forward to this PS5 launch. I'm not looking forward to this. I mean, that event was so bad, they should build a monument with a reflective pool so that tourists can go take pictures next to it. That was awful. Okay, now listen to the facts for a second. Boom, you've already pointed out these facts just a few minutes ago, okay? The majority of the PlayStation supporters, where are they? They're not Japan. Okay, I know the console's made there.
Right.
Okay, I know it's a Japanese company, but it's the United States. It's Canada, it's the UK, it's Europe, it's Australia. It's those places that it's the most popular. How tone deaf could you be? These leaders are so tone deaf. This ain't the same Sony, kids. I'm sorry to break it to you. It's not the same Sony. Okay? Now, could that reveal have been any more controlled, by the way? Give me a wide shot.
Yeah.
Show me what's going on, for crying out loud. Instead of zoomed in, let me see what's really going on there. I swear, Jim Ryan was standing behind that camera with a few armed goons, okay, staring that guy down. This is the question I got to ask everybody. What are you afraid of, Sony?
Yeah.
I'm calling you out. What are you afraid of? So when I sat down to watch this reveal, I expected some nice, detailed breakdowns of the tech. Show me every detail. Show me performance. Show me stats. You know, kind of like what Xbox is doing. Like, come on, guys. You know, give it to YouTubers and influencers in your target market, not that, whatever that was. Okay? It still feels like Sony is hiding in their treehouse right now, okay? Mom's outside downstairs. Sony, come in. It's dinner time, sweetie. He's up in the treehouse going, I'm not coming down, Mom. I'm not coming down. So what does this do? This begs the question, what are you hiding, Sony? Maybe they're hiding nothing, okay? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe it's just a conspiracy theory. But you know what it does do? It gives me the perception. It's the perception they're conveying that they're hiding something, or that something is wrong, or something is just slightly amiss, okay? Because everybody's kind of looking at Sony a little side-eyed right now. No one's looking at them straight on going, yay, show me more. They're all looking at them a little side-eyed with a little smirk on their face going, I don't know about those guys. Because there's something up going on over there. So it feels like they're hiding something, especially considering, by the way, how transparent Xbox is being. So after everything Xbox is doing right now, I sat down excited and intrigued. And what did I get? You know, what did I get? Boom, you called it earlier. I got Austin Powers. They're going, blowing the controller, baby. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm going to fall out of my chair.
And cackling like a hyena. What the hell was that?
That was horrible,
Yeah.
man.
What was that? Like, okay, I understand. I know we already covered this. Okay, I understand that there's clearly a cultural divide in what the Japanese market considers entertainment. But once again, Sony has missed the mark.
Yeah.
If you aren't going to target your prime audience, then this is another thing that I have a problem with. Then don't try to sell us into watching it. You know, you remember, guys, it wasn't that long ago. What was it, 7 months ago, 8 months ago? You remember when Mark Cerny had that developers only conference, but they turned it into a puff piece and they advertised it and people tuned in. I was one of them. And then all of a sudden, after 1 hour, I was like, what in the Sam hell was that? And they're like, oh, no, it was for the developers. I'm like, well, then why did you advertise it that way? You did the same thing here. Okay, and so this felt the same way to me anyway, and clearly to many others, because I'm not the only one who's saying this. Okay, so I know Sony speaks loudly. Enough of all the jokes. Okay, I know that Sony speaks loudly with their outstanding first-party titles. There's no question of that, and I'm one of their top fans. Okay, my game of the year, hands down, is Ghost of Tsushima.
Absolutely,
okay?
100%. Yeah,
100% game of the year. If that doesn't win game of the year, I'll never watch Jeff Keighley again. But I'll tell you something else. But those first-party games, they won't be looked at properly this gen if, two things to me, people can't get their hands on this console. That's number one. I mean, let's get serious, which begs many other questions as to why we can't get our hands on those consoles. And I have many theories, but I'll save that for another show. But the number two is that you don't get your stuff together and you stop being so tone deaf to your potential customers. And this is the root of the problem. This is what's been going on since about February or March, and it clearly hasn't changed, and it clearly hasn't gotten any better, leaving us once again with less than 40 days to the launch of this console, and I still don't know what's going on or why I'm dropping my money. That's all I had to say.
No, I mean, you bring up a tremendous amount of points. I mean, we don't know. And again, if you look at the list that I read coming into this particular podcast, this is all post, again, September 16th when they had their show. They've been very coy about backwards compatibility, right? We don't know if this is going to have an official smart delivery type system. We don't know if we have no official data I should say, regarding the SSD, right? We saw the leaked shots of 664 available, but we have no idea if that's confirmed or not. We don't know if there's going to be a VRS in this a VRS type system in the PlayStation 5. There is so much we don't know, but again, I think the dagger in the heart for Sony, on top of all the bad news I have presented everyone on and Sunday's event, is that they have just been basically drop kicked by Digital Foundry with a 30% power delta difference, and that is staggering when you talk about both consoles being $500. Cybernox, I want to go to you next on this. Obviously you saw the notes. I sent them to you early enough for you to read them. With what I have detailed here, it seems like Sony is bumbling and stumbling into the next generation, and yesterday's event did not help their cause, and now the Digital Foundry reveal is even worse news for Sony. What are your thoughts of all of this bad news? Does this sound like Xbox 2013 roles reversed?
It 100% baffles me the 180 that this company has done from one generation to the other. It clearly indicates to me that Sony were not ready to release the PS5 this year. They just weren't. They've been caught off guard by Microsoft when they first revealed it last year at the Game Awards, and ever since then, for the first time, they've been kind of playing catch up. Microsoft handed them a golden ticket last gen by giving them like a perfect storm of Microsoft doing everything wrong and Sony just being the marketing geniuses that they were at that time, just reacting perfectly and giving their fan base and giving everyone in the gaming industry exactly what they wanted to hear, and exactly what everyone expected. Now, I'm in the same boat here. Like, this reveal, this was the first time that we were going to take a look at the PS5 hardware. Up until that point, up until those Japanese YouTubers got their hands on, which we've all said it here, it was extremely controlled. Like how many takes, how many things that those guys probably wanted to do or show, and you had some Sony PR in the back just saying, nope, cut it, do it again, or do it this way. We don't know anything. Kind of like I said, it was extremely controlled. And Ethan Hunt might as well pull that mask off, Jim Ryan. Okay. Honestly, it's kind of insane to me. We all know here, or most of us here, are primarily either Xbox guy or PC guy, but I have a PlayStation 2, I have a Switch, right? And I've always gave Sony the props. Their first party games are amazing. You had God of War last gen. You had, for some people, you had Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man. Like their first party have knocked it out of the park, and they've just kept going on. They had the market share, and I think they're taking that a little bit for granted this time around. They're just expecting people to just go with their next console as a PS5 because of how well the PS4 did. They're literally asking all their fans. This is the first time I've seen someone try to sell you a product and literally tell you nothing about it. Like, give me $500 for you to buy my PS5, and I'm gonna tell you as little as I can about my product, but I'm asking you to just go ahead and give me your money. Like, it doesn't make sense. And then, like everybody has mentioned, like we're still not sure if that was that PS5 was actually running. Like, there's so many questions.
There's a lot of questions, dude. Sure.
There's too many questions, and we're about a month away from these consoles, from having some of these consoles in our hands. It doesn't make sense. I thought this is going to be the second event, kind of like so when Mark Cerny did his first one for GDC, when he did that showcasing. This is going to be the second event that Sony does that did not go off well. This is going to be the second one. And this is like unheard of for Sony. I've always praised them on the quality of their marketing and everything they've done. They've knocked that. Even their last commercial, I didn't think was that good. Like the one that
with the guys
boats. With the boats. Like, come on, what are we doing? But anyway, that's for another topic. But yeah, man, in regards to the showcase, cringy to me. I understand kind of like the cultural differences, the levity that they try to go for over there in Japan. I highly respect that. But they knew the eyes were going to be on this event. The PS5 needed to deliver, and if you're a PS5 only fan or thing like that, you have to be real here. You have to ask more of Sony for them to show you a little bit more. Now, I'm not trying to be hypocritical here, because Xbox still hasn't shown us anything like next gen running on the Series X. So hopefully they'll deliver that too. But yeah, man, for first impressions, and we've mentioned here on the show and a couple of times too, first impressions are everything. And for some, this is not a good first impression for Sony.
Boom. That reminded me that commercial, that event on Sunday reminded me. You guys remember that PS3 commercial with the baby? It was that cringy. It was horrible.
Oh man.
Yep, I do now. Yep.
Yeah.
And that actually was pretty awful. Real quick, before we get Gaming Forte, let me just catch up on some of these super chats that have come in. First of all, Jay Serg 12 drops a very generous $2 super chat. Hey Jay, thanks so much for hanging out. He says they weren't even allowed to touch the PlayStation 5. Yeah, and that's a little odd.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to touch it. It was crazy, man. It's like, what kind of NDA that are these guys under now? Like, it must be insane.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, I can guarantee you that the NDA paperwork they had to sign was stout.
To be fair, the guys that are getting the Xbox, the Series X here too, or everywhere in the world, they're also under a certain NDA. Those are for some kind of feature. Like, don't show this yet, guys. We want to show this afterwards. But they're still giving them the freedom to like showcase this. Like, every video that I've seen, everyone is talking about this one feature, the quick resume right now. But they grab the console, they move it around, they show you, they tell you what their experiences they kind of had. They give you like so many different variables to this one thing. And here on Sony's end, like, we literally got nothing. It was just like, What? Didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Real quick, Psychonauts8, who good friend of the show, drops an outstanding $2 super chat and says the PlayStation 5 is pretty much a PlayStation 4 Pro Plus.
That's tough, man.
That's actually quite funny. The Bounty Boom shows his generosity once again. My goodness, dude, thank you. He, after dropping a $5 super chat, he says 25 to life. That was funny. And I said that before Microsoft wasn't ready with the games. Sony's not ready with the console. Great show, and I have to go. Well, listen, have a great night, Bounty Boom. Once again, thank you for supporting Double Barrel Gaming. We certainly appreciate it. And we have Kayasante, another generous friend of the show, drops another outstanding $5 super chat. Says, as Mag said, this isn't the same Sony. All of the executives are gone. Even Shuhei Yoshida is nowhere to be found. It's Jim Matrix Ryan show now. You know, I gotta say that to King, and I'm going to give you credit because that is quite funny. That it could be Don Matrix underneath Jim Ryan.
I'm going to get Graphic God to do a little video.
Stolen identity, man. Stolen identity.
Yeah. Oh no. This is how you do. This is how you sync a console.
Oh, one thing too. Boom. I think Wolf mentioned it earlier. They also switched the X and the O. I know it was different, the layout.
Dude,
that was a big deal, man. I thought I was just like, wow.
Yeah, you know,
it's something with the Japanese culture with that too.
I did not have that in the notes, and shout out to for John Wolf for bringing that up. That is making world news, folks. They are pissed.
It's something so small, Boom. It's something so small, but it just shows you the what are you guys thinking? Like, this is something that is tradition.
Yes. Yeah. And if there's one thing about the Japanese culture that I absolutely, both Mrs. Boomstick and I absolutely love and adore, is their tradition. One thing about Japan is that they're traditional in every way, even though even though sometimes it may not make sense. They stay strong in tradition. This over here, you're going to hear about this. Well, I mean, people like here in the States, we're used to hitting X, right? That's our button for the PlayStation, but that's not for Japan. It was always O, and they changed it, and it did not sit well with the Japanese gamers, and I think it's going to hurt Sony. I think they're going to have to somehow figure that out to go back to the old way. But you know what? Listen, Forte, look, you like all of us on this panel. We're gamers. We have almost 700 folks here in the chat. I got a good suspicion.
Nice.
All right, that there is gamers here. Now, granted, there may be some people that play on Switch, some play on PlayStation, some people play on Xbox and they're exclusive. That's fine. But we are talking about a console that is going to be in your store in 39 days for sale. And like everyone has pointed out, there is loads of information we don't know. And when you look at the stack list that I put together prior to starting this conversation about what Sony has done in regards to quote unquote dropping the ball since September 16th, it is an incredible list. And this is so unlike Sony. Now, you've heard, you guys are going to laugh. I've said this publicly. I consider Sony's marketing the 24-inch Hulk Hogan Python of marketing, because they just have dominated with their marketing. This is how they won a generation with. This is how you share games, and they have been relentless ever since. Even some people would even say they've been Roddy Piper relentless, while throwing salt in your eyes and then beating you down with a coconut like he did to Jimmy Snuka way back in the day. See, you folks don't understand because I'm old, and those are my childhood heroes and villains.
Hey, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. But man, I mean, you take the list that I presented, you take the new game coming out, Godfall, not being able to play offline unless you have PlayStation Plus. Very, very strange. You take the debacle that was yesterday's event, and now you add even more salt to the wound with the Digital Foundry 30% delta in power. It is, pardon my French, folks, a shit sandwich for Sony, and that's a lot of S's. What are your thoughts on this?
Whew, man, you guys all said some really good things, and actually I have a video that's coming out about this very soon. But so all right, so I try to keep a lot of this stuff positive just because, we're gamers and who really cares about most of this stuff. But for the purpose of this podcast and the fact that we almost got 700 people in here with only 291 likes, can we please get those likes above 300 before the show ends? Just want to let you guys know that.
That would be
listen, I'll start
nice.
singing again if I have to. I'll start singing again.
Right, please.
No.
So let's, all right, so first, let's talk about the situation with the button change. I'm actually happy they did that. You know why? Because that means they're listening to their more valuable customers. Because guess what? There's a reason the PlayStation is coming out in America first. Because we are the consumers that buy and prop that system up. And we're the ones that actually make that system as valuable as it is. Yes, it sells a lot in other countries, but guess what? They want to fight Microsoft where Microsoft is strongest at.
Right here.
And that's why that's here in America. So guess what? The fact that they're changing that button prop so I don't accidentally back out of a game by accident, because trust me, it happens all the time, because if you play on Xbox, you're used to a certain control scheme.
Yeah.
The fact that they're changing that makes me happy. Now, does it suck for people over in Japan and over in Asia and all these other places? Absolutely, it sucks for you. But guess what? You should have supported the console more and bought it more over there. And you shouldn't let a handheld outsell you when PlayStation is homegrown there. So you really can't get mad at them for going with the common denominator, because they've been doing that the entire generation. When it comes, not the generation, but the entire time when the PlayStation 5 comes out, they announced the controller. That controller looks as big as an Xbox controller at this point. The only thing they didn't change is the thumbsticks are still in line. That's the only thing they kept pretty much from the original Xbox. So let's move on from that. But yeah, I'm happy that they did that. So I don't have to worry about backing out of games by accident no more. So let's get to this freaking event. The fact that you got people blowing into the controller like it's powering the system is like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, that was my first thought of seeing this. Like, wow, this is interesting. This dude is literally blowing in the controller and showing something in the game that, like, what? And then I'm looking at the system. I was like, wow, the system is actually there. I actually physically see something that I thought was a unicorn. Why am I only seeing this now? And then you got in this giant room where you're trying to mask the size of the thing. I really, truly don't care how big the thing is. We know it's going to be huge. We got the dimensions of the system, for crying out loud. So what are you trying to hide in that regard? But ultimately, let's get to all the other stuff. So no backwards compatibility between PS1, PS2, PS3. I could care less, but guess what? Your competitor is bringing that. So you're kind of putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And a lot of the things that a lot of people have a problem with, I truly don't have a real problem with. The only problem that's going to happen is if enough people garner those type of features and they want that stuff to be in their next generation system and you don't have it, you're basically telling people go somewhere else. That's basically all this is basically turning out to. You know, the fact that you're still not talking about how your PS4 backwards compatibility is working, the fact that you're saying, oh, we got 100 games that's going to be day one launch, and then 4,000 games over the course of the generations, we still don't know what these games are. I mean, the 1% of games could be the one game you want to boot up on your PlayStation 5 and it will never play, because we don't know. Yeah. And the people always say, well, that's because Microsoft has been so transparent. Absolutely. Microsoft has been preparing us for the last year when it comes to all of this stuff that's happening. When it comes to knowing that our Elite controller that we bought that cost $180 was going to work on our system a year ago. They let us know that stuff. They came out with a blog post and said everything that's going to work with your new Xbox pretty much, and even if it's third party, all they're going to have to do is do an update. So guess what? Microsoft does what they always do. They excuse themselves from the situation when it comes from third party. It says if it doesn't work, it's not because we said it couldn't work. It's because they didn't want it to work and they wanted to charge you something to make it, work on their system, or they want to sell you another product. So once again, Microsoft does what they always do. They pass the blame on to somebody else, and that's what they should do. Because if it's not their problem, why are we gonna get mad at them? PlayStation hasn't given us none of that information, none of it whatsoever. And we're literally 39 games from this system being released. I don't get mad at them for the whole pre-order thing. I get mad at Walmart for that because Walmart jumped the gun and all the retailers jumped the gun at that. So that I really don't get mad at, but I am mad for the simple fact that you're supposed to have 17 million systems out here that's going to release between now and March of next year. And it's like we're on the second wave of these systems coming out, and most stores, I mean, I don't know what the online retail looks like, but most of these stores only have like 50 pre-orders at most compared to PS. You saying you have more systems this generation than you had at the launch of PS4, but I remember vividly having over 100 systems pre-ordered at my store when PS4 came out. I'm not even close to that number. So what's really going on in that regard too? And that kind of falls on Xbox too, because Xbox, and I'm a little pissed at Xbox because I still don't have my Series X pre-order because I was being a nice person and letting somebody in line get their pre-order thinking that Microsoft's going to give us another run of pre-orders and I'll get it then. But guess what? It's starting to look real dark right now when it comes to that. So I'm a little pissed at them a little bit too, but that's for another day. But moving on from that,
video.
It will be a video. That's going to be part of the video. So moving on from that, save files not working. You got third-party games saying that they can't transfer games. You got first-party saying that, oh, this game's sales their stuff will transfer, but the PS4 version won't transfer. Then you got another studio saying, oh, certain things like Dirt 5 saying, oh, the playground stuff will transfer, but your none of your other stuff, your currency, none of that stuff would transfer. And I'm like, what's really going on here with this system?
Exhausting, isn't it?
It's like you're literally spinning in a wheel. It's pretty much like the guy that was literally blowing in the controller. I felt like I was on that little spinning wheel that was on the screen. And Sony is just taking me for a ride. And you know what? The funny thing about this is, and it's unfortunate because we are all passionate about the things that we're talking about. Yeah. This absolutely isn't going to matter. You know why? Because they sold out of all their pre-orders. Yep. The system's going to sell no matter what. That's why you see the Japan market getting the chance to demo the system. You're seeing that because that's where they're weakest at. They already know they have America on lock. They said, we're going to sell out there no matter what. We're going to compete with Microsoft because guess what? They look at us like, oh, they just going to buy the system because it says PlayStation 5 on it. And guess what? People literally ran out to the store without even seeing a physical box, a physical literal box in front of them. All they saw was renders of a screen. And they still ran out and got it. Now you're going to probably say Xbox never showed us a next generation game running on the system, and you're buying that. I'm going to tell you, like, well, at least I know the thing is going to play games. I know it's going to run a game. It's going the games are going to play on the system, but I still haven't seen this physical box. So they already know that we're already got when it comes to that. So they're saying, how do we boost our presence in other areas? Oh, let's show it to the Japanese market. You know, we're going to we're not even going to televise. We're just going to put articles out. And the fact that we're so hungry for news and information on a system that literally releases it just over
everyone went looking for those videos.
Everybody went looking for it. If they can find out anything that, I don't care if it's in chimpanzee's language, they're going to look for it. And first of all, anybody that says text on thumbnails don't work, if you look at those freaking thumbnails from all of those videos, I swear I feel like Godzilla just took a dump on the top of them with all the text he put on them, because it's like it literally takes up the whole screen. So that's another YouTube rant right there. But look, I'm frustrated because I just want this generation to end, and I want to know what we're getting into. I already know it's going to be a lower hard drive size than 865 because the operating system has to take up something. But guess what happens? When people don't know the actual information, they theorize. And once they start theorizing, they start making other people mad because it's like, oh, no, Sony's not going to do that, because that's where the whole fanboy stuff starts. So as I rub my brow, because my head is starting to hurt at this moment, because all of this makes absolutely no sense to what they're doing. Microsoft is doing everything right now. They're giving people a reason to buy their system, even if you don't think the first party games are going to be there, because they're not. There's not going to be anything first party for us to chew into within the first probably year, couple. Because guess what? I don't think Halo's coming out anytime soon, and it shouldn't until the game is ready. But the promise of buying Bethesda, the promise of all of the 7 first party studios they bought back in 2017. And knowing that those games are coming, and knowing that Game Pass is a beacon that's going to allow you to not only get games for a hell of a lot cheaper, but try things that you never got a chance to play before inside of that service. And that's what's going to make people excited. And once people get to the realization that they're paying $70, and I think it's going to be the same thing on Xbox too, but the only difference is Xbox has a way for you to get the games for a lot cheaper without even paying for them. But it's going to be a realization when PlayStation players are like, why am I paying $70 for the same game that I could get into a service on the other side? And then that's when that light bulb goes off and they say, hey, maybe I'm better off just buying all of my games that are third-party related over on the Xbox platform, a la like it was during the 7th gen generation, and just buy first-party PlayStation games over on PlayStation. Everybody wins in that regard. I think that's where we're literally heading with this, but PlayStation better be very careful with the way that they step going forward, because the more and more you let people think on their own about what your system can and can't do, if Xbox was to come out tomorrow and say pre-orders are live tomorrow, there will be a slew of people that have PlayStation's pre-order probably and say, you know what, I'm about to go get an Xbox because I know more about that system than the system I got pre-ordered already. So that's all I got to say on it. There's a lot more I could say on it, but we will literally be here another 20 minutes, and I'm just going to save that stuff for another video. But that's how I feel about this whole dumb situation that Sony puts us in when it comes to thinking about this next generation PlayStation.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Look, folks, this has been a fantastic show. And obviously, we don't harp on the negativity. That's not what this show does. Everyone on this panel, including our guest, is a power professional. But we also have to be truthful. And if I recall correctly, a lot of the same questions were posed to Microsoft when they were making boob-like moves. And we jeered them. And now we're cheering them. And right now, again, it's roles reversal. Sony seems to be definitely limping into the next generation. Like I said earlier, some people could even suggest crawling. There's a lot of mismarketing, mismessaging, and confusion going on. I don't know who's to blame. I mean, is that Jim Ryan? Is that Herman Holtz? I honestly couldn't tell you, but all I can tell you right now is the bad news continues. As a matter of fact, like I said, I just found out live on the show that the Digital Foundry and Dealer Video is basically confirming a 30% delta in power, and that's a big deal. 30% is a big deal in any market, whether you're in the stock market, whether you're in your pay. Because just imagine this for a second. You and the guy standing next to you, right? You get your paycheck and it's 30% less than the guy standing next to you, but somehow or another you hold the same position. You would be pissed. That is the simple way I can break down Sony's PlayStation 5 versus the Series X. And
No, I would say, but you know what? And I'm gonna add something to what you just said. You would be pissed, but it's exacerbated by the fact that they're not saying anything about it. It's like if they would have came out, like, and I truly believe this, people, because power does not matter. People will turn down their graphical settings to get better resolution, not better, but better frame rate and better performance. That does not matter. But the biggest thing is when you leave people to their own devices of thinking what a system can and can't do, the message gets louder than it needs to be. If you just come out and say, this is what our system is doing, and you don't even have to mention the Xbox. You just say, this is our power structure. This is what we're going to be doing in our games. This is what you can expect to achieve in our games. And then let the internet just have wild with it. Because guess what? You put the information out there, let it do what it wants to do. But now you're making it a bigger story because you're not talking about it. And people want to know, why aren't you talking about it? Because it seems like you're hiding something. Now you're just building a narrative that you didn't even have to build.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
Forte, Microsoft has this marketing strategy has been harkened back to the 90s. Xbox
Yes.
does what PlayStation don't. Simple
Yeah,
as that.
Exactly.
that's
100%.
a great,
Show,
great.
show me what
That's
you got.
Yeah, no,
Yep, I
absolutely.
agree.
This is Genesis versus Nintendo all over again, and unfortunately, look, we have 39 days for the PlayStation and 37 days to the Series X and S. It is supposed to be an exciting time, and it's still exciting, but it's also you have one camp giving us all the answers, and we are looking towards Mondays every Monday for some new information because they've been so forthcoming and so transparent. And unfortunately, you look forward to an event like Sony had yesterday, and you are riddled with disappointment. And I think that more disappointment is coming, and Sony needs to do something ASAP. But real quick, before we get on to the outros, 2 more super chats came in. And once again, Kay Asante, my goodness, dude, your generosity is unbelievable and unmatched. He drops an additional $10 super chat and says, save files not working isn't surprising to me at all. Microsoft is all about infrastructure. They built Xbox and backwards compatibility on Azure since 360. That's why saves work. Sony didn't care. Sony left it up to the devs. That's a fantastic point. We also have J-Dub is a shill, drops a $5 super chat and says, so if the PlayStation is locked at 1440p 60 FPS with 4K 30, does this mean that the PlayStation Pro Plus is really closer to the Series S? Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, what you're getting in the S is leaps and bounds incredible for the $300 price point. And I think that it's because of that in Xbox Game Pass. And I've said this before, and I got booed for this. I got called names. You should see some of the messages in the chat. I am telling you right now, live on the air, this generation, PlayStation is not going to be the leader in console sales. It's going to be Microsoft because of the Series S, not the X. The hardcore, like us, want the power. The regular Joes, the 85 plus million that propelled Sony's PS4 to 112 plus now, are going to be the same folks potentially buying a Series S because of the value proposition. That Game Pass and $300 price point is going to be monster. And when you factor in the Xbox All Access program at $25 a month with no APR, folks, you are looking at the turning of the tide. The champ is going down, and I believe Sony, I'm not saying they're dead. I'm not saying they're in trouble. I'm saying that they are not the same Sony, so expect some not the same Sony results, and I think it's safe to say you are seeing that. The Living Flame drops an outstanding, very generous $2 super chat, says Xbox does what PlayStation don't. Be honest, LOL. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But let's get to the outros, and we'll start with our very special guest, John. I hope you enjoyed yourself. You handled yourself like a true champion and podcasting professional. Thanks so much for being here, brother. You will definitely be getting another invite to this program, potentially, maybe even one of the other programs if we can get our schedules on par. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely, Boom. You guys can follow me on Instagram. Look up John Wolf, just like it's spelled below. And Boom, thank you so much for having me and for the opportunity to come on your show and discuss the different topics with the panel here. All of you guys are great at what you do. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, and this was the highlight of 2020 so far.
Well, listen, dude, I'm glad I could obviously extend the hand. It's something that as a content creator, I feel more need to do. It's something that I strive to do. It's what I built this channel on the community at the ground floor being the most important thing to me personally, and getting new talent to come on. And I've said this on numerous shows, and I'll say it again. If you are someone like John who has wanted to be on a podcast, and no one's given you the invite, no one knocked on your door, well, guess what? I'm effing knocking. Reach out to me. All you need is a microphone, a headset, with a working microphone and potentially a half-decent computer, and you too can potentially guest on one of my podcasts. Again, it's all about community for me, and hopefully it is the same for you. But let's continue with the outros. Next up, Tempest Son, my friend, thank you so much for being here and giving us your honest opinion about everything when it comes to gaming. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone where they can find you on social media and potentially get shot in the face by you by playing online.
Hey, you are talking to me, right?
Yes, sir. I certainly
was. I figured. Sorry, my kid and my wife were talking. Okay. Yeah, at the Tempest Son on Twitter, and on my gamer tag is Tempest Son. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to be on Gaming Beyond the Box on Wednesday. That's a big one. Yeah, super excited. Wilmy was nice enough to ask me, and I'm very excited for it. Also, if you have I hate mentioning the phones, but iOS or Android, but especially if you have a PC, you can get it on PS4 as well. Just careful, you're locked to it if you start it there. Can't move your characters anywhere. Please, if you like open world games, yes, get Genshin Impact. It is a blast. It is going to hold me over. I think the next big update for it comes out soon, even though the game just launched. It is one of the prettiest game worlds. I was talking to my wife. I think it's easy in my top 3 prettiest game worlds I've ever seen. I haven't even explored it all yet. It is an absolute wonder of a game, and you can quite literally play it for nothing. It's 100% free to play if you want it to be. So check out Genshin Impact, please. I know there's a lot of people probably in the chat that have played it some that are enjoying it, but it is a wonderful game out of nowhere. Took me totally by surprise. So please give it a shot and let me know what you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So let's continue, of course, with the outro. Cybernox, brother, let's get you on out of here. I know you came to the show just a tad bit late, but you know what? You didn't miss anything. Thanks so much for being here, as always. Do me a favor, brother. Tell everyone about your outstanding YouTube channel, and also where could people follow you on social media?
I appreciate that, Boom. Sorry I was late again, guys, but I got the singing in, so that was great.
Listen, we got half a song in, so we're good.
Nah, Cybernox everywhere, guys. You guys know the drill. Twitter, that's where I'm mostly more active. If you want to hit me up on Xbox Live, that's where I primarily game. Also, Cybernox. Wolfman, it was a pleasure podcasting you for the first time. Sorry I was late again. Hopefully we can do many more podcasts in the future. And yeah, guys, can't wait till next Monday. And next week we'll be that much closer to the next gen consoles. Can't wait.
Yeah, 1 week closer, and obviously the excitement is certainly brewing for sure. Next up, the mag, known as the Middle-Aged Gamer Guy. Thanks so much for being here. Of course, thank you for your honest and thought-provoking opinion, and of course, the levity and comedy that comes with having Mag on your panel. Tell everyone where they can follow you on social media, dude, and what other shows are you currently a part of?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at the Middle Age Game Guy. That's with a GY at the end. On the Xbox side of things, you could find me at all capitals, one word, Deadmeat1. That is DEDMEAT1. Add me, I'll add you. On the PlayStation side, you can find me all one word, all capitals, because I don't know how to be quiet. I am the Mag with 2 G's. And you can catch me here every Monday night at 8 p.m. on Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL and friends. And of course, every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with none other than Noof Nukem and Titan Drago on Gaming After Dark, and it is always a wild time. So thank you very much, John Wolf, for being here. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Boom. Everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll see you guys all next Monday. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, brother. Super
it was your destiny.
Oh, interesting.
Up, Cyber.
Interesting. You've got this poor man addicted to it.
I have to get it once in a while. I have to get it.
And last and no way least, obviously, Forte, when I talk about you, brother, it's from the heart. And I think that what you have done on for 2020 on your channel has been nothing short of stupendous. You have exploded on the scene. You and, of course, Slow-Mo Backslap, another good friend of mine who I consider to be a brother, just like you, have been just unbelievably murdering when it comes to new content on your channels. More specifically, your channel has exploded in not only subs but content quality. Tell everyone Well, they can follow you on social media, but more importantly, subscribe to this unbelievable YouTube channel.
Well, man, like I always say, you do a great job and propping us up, and we always appreciate it because there's not too many other content creators that you can literally say look out for pretty much everybody that they're involved in, especially how close our relationship is with each other. So I really, truly appreciate everything you do for me. Wolf, amazing first time being on the show with you, man. Did a really great job. Keep doing that. Tempest, go snipe somebody. Cybernauts, go play another game that you love. And Middle Age, keep on yelling as much as you can, because you guys all bring so much energy to the show each week. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. But outside of that, Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live. Check me out over there. DPS Podcast will be live on my channel tomorrow at 9 p.m. with me and Slow-Mo Backslap, where we're going to basically get into this all over again. And for some reason, I think he's going to be against me on some of this stuff, which is kind of ironic, but it is what it is. Sub to his channel too. If you like games like Genshin Impact, he did a video on it actually today, going over his thoughts and going over the developer and everything like that. He's one of those people that you want to definitely go to if you want to know what those crown jewels or those smaller AA and single A games are. And he does a really good job covering and bringing that stuff to light. So that's my co-host. Check out his channel at slumberbackslap.com. We're also on BRAP every Wednesday, 9 p.m. with Enrique, B Money, Eric Jackson, Slow-Mo, and myself. And Diashin Luca, the person that I will always shout out on these podcasts, even when I'm not on Scumcast, she's always there to help me grow and, become an even better YouTuber and a better content creator. And she makes her own videos now. So check her show out too, man, because these are all people that help me get to where I am. And I just want to always pay it forward for everybody that I get a chance to be around. But other than that, you guys have a great week, and we will see you at Primetime Gaming next week.
Yeah, and who doesn't love the lovely Luca? I mean, honestly, she's brutally honest. She will tear you down. And, of course, her thing is Dark Souls and Destiny as well. So, I mean, obviously, who doesn't like...
I think it's just those two games at this point.
It really is. But, of course, I don't think she's in the chat because I didn't see her because I would have shouted her out. But if you're listening, Luca, we love you. And, of course, we want to continue to push subscribers to your outstanding channel. And last but not least, we have another super chat came in at the last minute. Psychonaut 8 drops an additional very generous $2 super chat. Says, great show tonight. Panel was fire and mods held it down. And speaking of mods, we have the sheriff. You know him as Lethal Papa. Not only does he work tirelessly to keep this troll free, we have, of course, Dragon Wolf and a few others. I didn't get a chance to see who else was here, but obviously Lethal Papa, I mean, the work that he does is just not to be believed. And he's fair. And if he's timing you out, if he's banishing you to the black hole of never to come back to my podcast, you deserve it. And he has full authority to do so because I trust no one more than I trust Lethal Papa. So he has full authority to drop the ban hammer when he sees fit. So, of course, one other big shout out is to the outstanding generosity that continues to come in. Thank you so much for donating to, of course, Double Barrel Gaming. And obviously, with the giveaways that we've been doing and we have coming, we are putting all of that money back into this community. So stay tuned for a big announcement coming for Christmas with Boom in December. It is going to be epic, folks. And I believe people are going to be quite shocked on the amount of giveaways we are currently going to have. But anyway, listen, everyone, I want to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me when I was a kid. He used to say, son, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.